Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Mademoiselle Lina, and you can find me online at www.conjureknits.com. Today, we are here to do the Sagittarius TarotScope for January 2022, and we're going to be using the Fairy Oracle cards by Brian Froud. Before we get started, I would like to say thank you for viewing my video. And if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and click on the little bell so that you'll receive notifications of when I go live or upload new videos. I do try to stay pretty busy here on my channel. I do all 12 zodiac signs for the monthly tarot scopes. On Sundays, we have Conjure Crew with myself, Mambo Tanya, and the Black Bonnet Witch. On Mondays, I upload the weekly forecast. Every day, I do a card of the day reveal. On Wednesdays, we have the virtual book club. We are currently reading the Sword of Truth series by Terry Goodkind. It has been so much fun following Richard and Kaylin on their adventures, so you are definitely going to want to join us for that. I also pop on from time to time and do free readings, so make sure you get my notifications by clicking that little bell. All right, I feel that I have rambled on long enough. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Card number 1. What is the challenge for this month? And we have the Maiden. This is about auspicious beginnings, birth, growth, joy, hope. From her crown of light to her star-jeweled toes, the Maiden is pure joy. She is the face of the force that generates growth throughout all the worlds. When she smiles, troubles melt. Where she dances, flowers spring from the ground and burst into bloom. It is from the Maiden that the Pixies learned the dance that keeps the other world turning, and probably our world, too, for that matter. She is newly born every morning, and she carols her plangent song of growth for all beings in all the worlds. She sees the magic and the light in everything and takes endless delight in it. Yet, even though the Maiden is so wonderful and powerful, she is a child and she needs to be cared for, nurtured, and cherished. When she takes the form of a flower, someone must see that she gets enough water and sun. Whenever we look after something new or young, we are caring for the Maiden, whether she is in the form of a blossom, a sapling, a baby, or a new idea. She, in turn, is likely to switch between joyfully and gratefully receiving such nurturing and insisting on an independence that she really isn't ready for yet. She knows, deep within herself, what she needs to do and become, and she moves toward this with the directness of a child. The Maiden also has the simplicity and curiosity of a child, seeing with unclouded eyes. She has an openness to life, love, new things, and new experiences. Every moment with her is an adventure, filled with playfulness and hope. Innocent, she is awakening to and learning about the world. Much of her learning comes with laughter and silly jokes, and she trusts what life gives her. Every time we allow ourselves to be filled with joy, we become more like the Maiden. Card number 2. What positive energies can I embrace this month? And we have the Fairy Who Was Kissed by the Pixies. This is about love given, love received, metaphorical open heart surgery. Pixie kisses are not chocolate like the well-known Hershey's Kisses, but the Pixies claim that they are a whole lot sweeter and don't do anything dreadful to your teeth. However, if the Pixies have been munching fairy chocolate, some pixie kisses give people freckles. The Pixies say that there cannot be too much kissing. A fairy kiss is a blessing indeed. Pay attention when you feel a fairy touch on your cheek or lips. Pixie kisses, in fact, all fairy kisses, are to be noticed and savored. If you do notice, you will find yourself smiling without meaning to, and feel a surge of warmth swell in your heart. This fairy, Morna, is the queen of love. All kinds of love, brotherly, sisterly, parental, friendly, unconditional or conditional, either or both. She tells us it takes perfect people to have a perfect love. But we, imperfect as we all are, may have many loves, each one perfect for who we are and for what we need now. These loves may not feel perfect. They may not look perfect from the outside, but they fit us now. If we don't like them, she shrugs, then we need to change ourselves so that a different kind of perfection fits us. Here we see Morna in her role as heart surgeon, using the power of love to help us open our hearts when we have closed them out of fear, helping us to expand and become more of what we have the potential to be. Yes, it is true, having an open heart, being willing to love and be loved, makes us vulnerable to loss and grief. But Morna assures me, and I believe her, that once a heart is truly and fully open, even the deepest grief becomes bittersweet, like dark chocolate, and there is no pain that is not balanced by the greater joy of love. The feeling of giving love is what makes us feel good. What keeps us from enjoying it fully is our desires to own others and have them constantly prove our importance to them. Such proof is impossible. However, this kind of conditional and self-limited love is part of how we learn about real love. If ever you hear yourself asking, "Do you really love me?" or saying, "I don't think you really love me," then you know that the love you are giving to the other is conditional and limited. Morna would like to help us learn to love others without conditions, and she also would like us to learn to love while still staying properly centered within ourselves. It is important for us not to lose ourselves in others and let their desires become ours while losing sight of what we need for fulfillment in our own lives. In the long run, or even the not so very long run, that never works out. We only think we know what others want and need, and sooner or later we get it disastrously wrong, usually by thinking we know what they ought to need. We are all learning about love, and in the process of learning, we all act as teachers for each other. Ram Dass said, "The karma of relationships is the hardest karma there is." Believe it. Morna advises. And this is true, no matter what the relationship is. But for all that, love in its purest sense is the fast track to self-realization and enlightenment. The wild thing at the top of the picture is filled with bliss and is longing to cuddle its way to enlightenment. Remember, everything and everyone in fairy glows with its own light. So do we. Much of that light is the glow of love. Remembering that is so important. Opening our hearts more widely to the giving and receiving of love evokes the well-kissed fairy within. Card number 3. What negative energies do I need to negotiate this month? And we have the Topsy-Turvets. This is about change of viewpoint, fresh looks, new ways of seeing. When life is confusing, the Turvets may come to visit you. Nothing draws them like a bit of mental muddle. They don't cause our disarray. We are very good at doing that for ourselves and each other, but they are attracted to it. Confusion is an important stage of growth, and they delight in helping things to grow. They live everywhere. Not only humans need their help, and are exceedingly busy. Fortunately, they are quite prolific, so there are a lot of them. When the Topsy-Turvets show up, it indicates that someone needs to look again, to make an effort to see things from a different point of view. It suggests that confusion may exist because we are asking the wrong questions. Or perhaps we have made assumptions that are incorrect, and we have run into a brick wall build of those misconceptions. The Turvets ask us to back up, to question our assumptions, and to try to see things from the viewpoints of the other people involved in our muddle. They ask us to let go of our attachment to our own point of view, to stop saying ought and should, especially about other people. Most emphatically, they suggest that we start trying to see things as they really are instead of as someone thinks they should be. This card is a warning that someone involved in the question or issue at hand is mentally upside down, or possibly sideways. Card number 4. What do I need to make time for this month? And we have the Dark Lady. This is about unconscious power and wisdom, rituals, mysteries, secrets. The Dark Lady is the high priestess of the mysteries. She understands how to surrender to divine power, to unity. She has the profound intuitive knowledge that is only to be found by looking deeply into our own beings and natures. We find her through meditation, in sleep, and within inner peace, ecstasy, and total despair. Hers is the time of the dark moon. She is the guardian of beings unborn, of unconscious ideas, and of seeds sprouting in the dark, cold earth, tender and fragile, and as yet unready to face the bright sun and the winds of spring. She holds the embryonic hopes we have not yet realized we have. The Dark Lady is the mistress of spiritual ritual. The purpose of a ritual is not the power it allegedly has over gods or spirits or fairies, but the very real power it may have over us, putting us into a state of consciousness where we may better connect to our own magic and to otherworld beings. The Dark Lady understands that ritual is something we surrender to and we allow to enfold us, rather than something we do or control. When we have been through a living cycle, birth and growth with the Maiden, nurturing and fulfillment with the Bright Mother, releasing and letting go with the Lady of the Harvest, it is the Dark Lady who passes with us through the night of endings and death, whether of the body or of the soul, or simply of something passing through our lives. It is she who holds and guides us as we reconceive ourselves and prepare to be born anew. In as simple an act as breathing, we see all four of them, inhaling with the Maiden, the moment of fullness with the Bright Mother, exhaling with the Lady of the Harvest, and the moment of empty, waiting stillness with the Dark Lady. She is there in our very last moments of deepest grief, helping us to move forward to the stillness and peace of the place beyond grief. Our sorrows are transformed within her. She teaches us surrender, walking with us through the valley of the darkest shadow. She is there as we experience the ecstasy of release. Then she guides us back to this reality, renewed and illuminated. From her come those spiritual awakenings that seem to blossom within us out of nowhere. When we travel through the darkness, inner or outer, we learn the strengths of the Dark Lady. Card number 5. What opportunity should I seize this month? And we have Penelope Dreamweaver. This is about inspiration, magical dreams, visions. Weaver of dreams, bringer of visions, muse of artistic inspiration, Penelope weaves tapestries in the mind with threads of light, color, and sound. When she comes to us in dreams, we waken under her enchantment and rush for our paints or clay or other forms of expression. In this painting, Brian has shown us Penelope, his own inspiration fairy, but we each have our own one who is more than willing to help us. Mine says to call her Grace because she says she isn't exactly someone I deserve, just someone I'm lucky enough to have in my life. She plays hard at inspiring me, as does Penelope with Brian. Penelope says she is very pleased with Brian's results of her inspirations, but when I looked hopefully at Grace to see what she thinks about me, she just shrugs her shoulders. Then she flashes me a wicked grin, so I think it is all right. Inspiration fairies like their jobs, but they get really bored when people don't pay attention to them. Then they sit around and file their fingernails while they think troublesome and mischievous thoughts. Sometimes they get exasperated enough to send us nightmares in an attempt to get us to wake up. These fairies and their sisters, the fairies of expression, work together as teams, helping us in our creative endeavors. The fairies of inspiration sprinkle us with special inspirational fairy dust so that we come up with ideas. Rather like fertilizing a plant, and you know what plants are fertilized with, Grace says. Then, their sisters, the fairies of expression, help us to give form to our creativity, manifesting it with our own particular talents. All right, my lovelies. Let's take a look at the bigger picture here. Card number 1. What is the challenge for this month? And we have the Maiden. In the Maiden reversed, we find her virtues turned into flaws. When her energy is blocked, we don't allow ourselves to dream, to hope, even to plan a future that is anything but minimal and mundane. We live a cold, sterile, joyless life. When we twist her energy, we become impulsive, unthinking, gullible, lost in dreams that never get translated into reality. There is a tendency to live in fantasy and deny reality, and there is definitely a lack of grounding. Life in a floating soap bubble is perilous, and that is where she is. When living in a dream world has become habitual, the addiction to fantasy is hard to break. It cannot be changed from the outside by others, and even from the inside, there is usually no desire to break through into an unhappy reality until the fantasy world itself becomes too painful to live in any longer. When the Maiden's energy is seriously reversed, this card can indicate crippling pessimism, an attitude that when possessed means the possessor sees the worst in everything, expects the worst from life, and gets it. Such an attitude creates its own misery and denies one the possibility of joy. When such a powerful energy as the thrust toward joyful growth is inverted or twisted this way, it is still a powerful energy, and usually requires an equally powerful experience to break free of it. But there is always hope, and those outside the fantasy need to remember that, even while being realistic about the difficulties of changing this state, someone needs to be an adult here. Card number 2. What positive energies can I embrace this month? And we have the fairy who was kissed by the pixies. Oh wow. What can I say here? Love, sweet love. Accept it, burnish it up, add to it, and pass it on. The presence of the fairy who was kissed by the pixies suggests giving and receiving love and intimacy in any of a wide variety of relationships. She gives notice that this is a time to open and heal our hearts. Different aspects of life may well be flowing happily together, healing separations and hurts from the past. Bonding may take place and deep feelings emerge. Changes for the better may occur in all aspects of life, but especially in relationships, which may be deepening and becoming richer. You may be experiencing love therapy for opening the heart as new relationships begin and old ones develop. Enjoy. Card number 3. What negative energies do I need to negotiate this month? And we have the topsy-turvets. The turvets suggest that things need to be looked at from another angle. We need to back off from our emotional entanglement and look anew. Much of the apparent confusion about the issue is caused by a faulty point of view. Get the opinions of honest others and then relook at your own. Defensiveness and denial may be causing much difficulty. Try imagining that you're looking at the situation from the point of view of each of the others involved. This is not an exercise in deciding how the other ought to see things, but in discovering how they really do. Words like "he ought to see that" are not useful at this time. If the turvets card turns up and another point of view does not readily suggest itself, remember to pause to listen for hints from the turvets themselves. They're experts in the field. This card is always reversed, even when it is turned sideways in a layout. Only worse, the turvets say glumly. Card number 4. What do I need to make time for this month? And we have the Dark Lady. We may reach the realm of the Dark Lady through grief, through deep surrender, through ecstasy, or through profound ritual. This card suggests that it is time to withdraw from the ordinary world to revitalize ourselves through retreat and surrender to the source, unity, and the song of ecstasis. This is a time of preparation for rebirth, of restoration and regeneration. What is hidden is getting ready to be revealed. Celebrate this passage through the unknown, rich, fertile, hidden realms of the Dark Lady. This is the time in the natural cycle of life when we open ourselves to and receive the inflowing energies of Himself, when we become powerful, overflowing with the life force. It may also be a time of prophecy, magic, and foretelling of the potentials of the future, a time of self-awareness, self-knowledge, and encounters with the hidden worlds. Meditate, retreat, seek serenity and inner peace. Card number 5. What opportunity should I seize this month? And we have Penelope Dreamweaver. Seek visions and inspiration. Be aware that they are often subtle and require close attention. Fantasies, dreams, and daydreams are all places an inspiration fairy can contact us, but she can also pop up unannounced in the midst of the most ordinary of activities. In the bath, washing the dishes, driving the car, or anywhere else that our mind is half occupied and half running on idle. Pay special attention to unsought inspirations at this time. They have something wonderful to offer you, but it is up to you to catch them and bring them into reality. I hope that this reading has helped you and will help lead you and guide you throughout the month of January. Keep it in mind throughout your daily activities. Then, before you go to bed each evening, journal about how it was pertinent to your day. Also, feel free to comment below if you would like. I would love to hear from you. If you do feel that it has helped you and that it will help someone else, please feel free to share this video. Sharing is caring. And if you would like a more in-depth and personal reading, you can go to my website at www.conjureknits.com and click on the link at the top of the page that says, Book a Reading. Oh, and by the way, did you know that you could have gotten this TarotScope up to 2 weeks before the general public? Oh yes, check out my Patreon for details. I will drop a link in the description box below. I hope you all have a very beautiful and amazing month. Love you bunches. Shalom.